Hello my fellow YouTubers, I am back again with another video. Apologies for not getting this video out any sooner, just other priorities took hold, but, well, got another Cowboys victory, and woohoo! 4-1. You know, after that first game, when you look at it, I thought, yeah, I know, we got 16 more games, but the way they played, the way the offense played, the way that everything just was looking in that game versus Tampa Bay was just grim, and I got tired of seeing the same shit, from the offense. No adjustments. Run game is actually, when we have a run game going, then, our offensive corner completely abandons it. And the quarterback looks fucking awful, It's amazing what's happened in these past 4 games when you think about it. Our defense, I don't know if it's a championship defense, but it's pretty close, and especially considering the opponents that we faced. We actually just faced, 2 of the Super Bowl opponents, and we swept them. And Cincinnati was a little harder, mainly because of the offense and Joe Burrow. But yeah, we took care of business. Our defense held them to 17. Then we faced the Giants, who were 2-0, and we held them to 13. Then we faced Washington, another division rival, held them to 10. And here we now face the Rams. We're going down in their turf, and we have not won in LA for quite some time. The last 2 times we faced them, we lost to them in the playoffs, where the Rams just ran all over us and had nearly 300 yards rushing on our defense alone. Then in 2020, we just barely lost them by 3 points on the ridiculous pass interference call on Michael Gallup. Or I can't remember, it was either the PI on Gallup or something that should have been called, but it was ridiculous and should have easily had that game. And Sean McVay, he's a respected coach. He just won a Super Bowl last season. He's going to find a way to expose your weaknesses on defense, and I kind of feared coming into this game he would do that, even though the offense, or their rushing offense, was ranked 30th. But I checked their past games, and before we faced them, I think the lowest amount of rushing yards they had was probably, around 50 or so. And that was probably going back to the first game that they lost, versus Buffalo. So here, we held them to 36 yards rushing. And I don't mean to go over the place, but I guess I'll start with that defense. How about that fucking defense? That's pretty fucking amazing when you consider the facts. The fact that we didn't have Quentin Bohanna in our starting lineup, who was, a known run stuffer, but yet somehow we managed to do a pretty good job of that, Just, we played a lot more discipline on the run game, and I think, thankfully, Dan Quinn was able to, address that issue. So, props off to the run defense. We definitely improved in that area. And then further along, first, in terms of pass coverage, this is probably so far the worst that we have allowed, because this is the first time this season we allowed a quarterback throwing for over 300 yards, but just barely, mainly because we were, making stops and just forcing some incompletes and getting some pressure. In fact, the very first points, we actually sacked Stafford. He fumbled the ball, and Dorrance got the sack, but D-Law was able to pick it up and return it for a touchdown. Dorrance Armstrong I'll say this, he's really stepped it up this season, and he has 4 sacks total. That's not bad for only paying a guy, $13 million for 2 years. Not bad at all so far. And he had almost the same amount of sacks as Gregory had last season, and that was only like 1 sack less, and he didn't play in many snaps. So, Dorrance Armstrong, he's been a pretty good monster this season. But I guess, if he's facing below average tackles, then yeah, it tends to happen. But in special teams, he's really good. So you got to give props to Dorrance Armstrong. Gotta give some credit to that guy. He's really stepped it up. Diggs, unfortunately, didn't have the best game. In fact, the 57-yard pass to Cooper Kupp from Stafford, and then he hit us on a crossing route, 75-yard touchdown pass, and they led 10-9, during the second quarter, and you're thinking, oh boy, here we go. But guess what? After that, the Cowboys offense actually responded. 57-yard touchdown run by Tony Pollard. I think Tony Pollard definitely needs to be given a little more opportunities, and, I wouldn't say start, but, have Zeke in for 1 series, then have Pollard in for, the second down. If you're going to pass on 3rd down, you definitely want to have Zeke back there, because honestly, he's a better pass blocker than Tony Pollard is, so yeah. But yeah, we were able to score on that, and from there on out, after that touchdown from the Rams and the fact that we scored, we didn't allow any more points after that. I mean, the Rams, had a few drives look like they're going to go somewhere, but then we either stopped them by sacking Stafford or forcing incomplete, or they didn't get the yards because they got a few penalties. And our defense, for the most part, played pretty damn good, if you ask me. And it's, shout out to Dan Quinn. He's really had these guys playing at a very high level. And then Micah, despite that groin injury that he had, they kind of had to limit him for a bit. Then, either the third, towards the end of the third quarter or the fourth quarter, he really came alive and actually got to Stafford a couple times. In fact, forced a fumble that pretty much, sealed any chance of the Rams getting any kind of garbage time points. So, Micah, you are the fucking man. I applaud you for playing very hard, and I probably should have gotten a Micah Parsons jersey instead of a Cooper jersey, because Micah's a monster on our defense, But I hope that groin injury isn't too serious, and if it is, let him rest for this week and bring him back for the Lions, because the Lions, they can definitely score some points too. So, but that's just my opinion. But anyways, now on to the special teams. Kind of disappointing because of our new lawn snapper. I don't know what the guy's name is, but he didn't start off so well because Maher missed an extra point because of that. Anger wasn't ready for the snap, and also Anger himself, he had a bad punt in this game too. So Anger, step up your fucking game, okay? I don't want to see any bad punting like I just saw in this game, and then of course in the Washington Commanders game as well. So yeah. But after that, thankfully, the special teams did better. I mean, Maher made his field goals, and Maher, he's pretty much made all his field goals except for the 59-yarder. And I'm glad for that. And of course, the special teams, forcing that block punt, Dorrance Armstrong, special teams did, I'd say, decent overall, just minus the bad snap and the very shanked punt by Anger. But anyways, now as far as the offense, the rushing game, this was definitely much better. We got that 57-yard touchdown run by Pollard. Pollard had some good runs here and there. Even Zeke had a pretty decent game himself. Cooper Rush didn't have the best game. Barely had over 100 yards passing. I don't know if it's because the play calling actually have taken away what Rush was actually best at. A couple of receivers actually in Gallup and CD, they dropped a couple easy passes that would have definitely helped. But the good news is Rush didn't turn over. He did get sacked a few times, but Rush did what he needed to do and did the best he could, despite the fact that this game really showed his limitations. And I have a feeling that our next opponent, which happens to be another division opponent, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're going to definitely try to somehow limit our wide receivers, from getting their best catches. So I guess we'll see what happens. But to be fair, our rushing yards definitely improved in this game overall, I'd say. And Zeke and Pollard definitely had a good game. That was the big factor. And the O-line itself didn't have the best game. Tyler Smith gave up a sack to Aaron Donald, but Aaron Donald's a monster, so you can't complain. That was honestly in the first half. But it seems like in the second half, the offensive line did much better. They were able to... I don't think he even heard Donald's name called after that. So in the second half, there was actually some decent adjustments on the offense. I still question Kellen Moore's play calling because I feel like he gets a bit too cute when it's not necessary. So, but for the most part, our offense did what it needed to do. It managed to get the points. Our defense pretty much shut down the Rams after that touchdown and shut down the running game. And this was a really good victory against a Super Bowl champion team. I know they don't have the players, but hey, we don't have certain players either. We still don't have our starter. And the fact that our backup quarterback at least led to at least 15 points, that's not bad. It could be better. Our offense could be much improved in the red zone. I believe we were 0-2, so that there definitely needs to be some work, and it showed in this game. But for what we were able to do, for the defense to go out and play the way they did, despite having some good passing yard bombs on them, like the 57-yarder and the 75-yard touchdown, we managed to just clamp on the Rams offense and not allow much after that. So hats off to you, Dan Quinn, and everyone in that defense. You stepped up and played a hell of a game. So, and we don't have an easy game going in against Philly because they're 5-0. We're still tied with the Giants, and Washington's still at the bottom of the fucking barrel. So there you go. So this Sunday night's definitely going to be interesting. We're going to see if Prescott's going to play, though it seems like it's doubtful that he is because he's still not quite healed up. But hopefully by next week he'll be ready, and hopefully our offense and our running backs will definitely have another good game where they can gash the Eagles defense because they're prone to the run as well. As long as our offensive coordinator and Kellen Moore could at least stick to it and sticks to what's working and what wins us games effectively. And there you go. Okay, I think that's going to do it for me. How about them Cowboys? And feel free to like, comment, share, and just feel free to leave your thoughts. And I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.